It is anarchy in parts of Spain, France and the UK right now, as migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently try to take over and intimidate innocent people.
Hello, welcome to Media Watch. I'm Linton Besser. And tonight we cross to a continent of white people under siege by black people and by brown people, tearing at the very fabric of society with all manner of deadly weapons.
Europe has fallen.
Anarchy in Europe as North African and Middle Eastern gangs senselessly terrorise innocent victims.
That's the headline on a Sky News report published to YouTube last month, which sounded the alarm on a migrant crime wave engulfing Europe, including in Spain, where
a man with a baby was callously threatened by a knife-wielding gang for simply walking down the street.
In the Catalonian capital, meanwhile, the horrors continued.
The cobblestone laneways are no longer filled with people enjoying their vacations, but with hundreds of Muslim men chanting.
Better cancel your trip to France too, because over there it's even worse.
France is also in a migration mess, with violence running rampant in the streets, like at the Fête de la Musique last month, where hundreds of young people were stabbed with syringes.
Hundreds stabbed with syringes? And Sky News selected a very authoritative expert to point out all the black people.
Online commentators were in shock with the footage, with this person saying, "This is France? This looks like Ghana, not France."
This exquisitely nuanced piece garnered almost 40,000 comments, many of which were just as erudite, linking the video's many crimes, not just with our well-known Jewish overlords, but also to the Great Replacement theory, which motivated the 2019 Christchurch massacre. Although, scattered through the vitriol, a handful of Sky's audience had a somewhat different analysis.
The biggest race-baiting video I've seen so far on these YouTube streets. LOL.
Which was a bit like stepping back out of the looking glass, because this video has to be one of the most appalling and incendiary things I've seen in journalism for a very long time. Which, it should also be said, was also wildly wrong from the very first frame. This is not the police beating back a violent migrant gang, but police beating back a violent mob of far-right vigilantes. And this video of a man threatened by a knife was in fact filmed in 2023 with no evidence the group was a migrant gang. Likewise, this video, rather than a migrant takeover of Barcelona, it captures Ashura, an annual day of commemoration for the Islamic faith. And on it goes. The mass syringe attack was in fact a mass panic triggered by a social media hoax, with not a single confirmed case, and many of the reports of syringe stabbings in several locations quickly attributed not to migrants, but mosquitoes. Oh, and this vision is not a migrant takeover either, as dramatic as it might look, but the aftermath of the UEFA Champions League final, in which fans clashed with each other and with Les Flics. As for this appalling internet comment, was it taken from a witness at the scene or an expert in migrant crime? Don't be silly. It's just a mean, deliberately racist remark from some far-right American keyboard warrior. And is Spain, to take one of Sky News' case studies, actually grappling with a surge of migrant-driven crime? Not even close. Whatever angst migration might be causing in the country, Spain's Interior Minister explained last month that
Crime is not on the rise, nor is it linked to migration. Despite a 54% rise in foreign residents between 2011 and 2024, crime has dropped 7 percentage points, with hate crimes down 13.8% last year, and Spain among the world's 25 safest nations.
And who is the journalist behind this call to arms? Her name is Carla Estratiu, who has a very busy social media feed full of charming observations, such as when she took a stroll through a pro-Palestinian student protest.
I swear it smells here. There is a definite stench. I feel like I'm getting rabies just being here. Yuck.
And why has she been given licence to produce this delightful contribution to human advancement? Read the numbers, baby. 3.6 million views. Ka-ching. In fact, Carla's contribution to the Sky News catalogue has attracted, just a few eyeballs. 7.6 million to be precise, just for this little selection uploaded in the past few months. But late on Friday, after receiving our questions, Sky News deleted Carla's 9-minute Anarchy in Europe magnum opus, posting not a correction, of course, but a clarification. Carla declined to offer us a comment, and Sky News would not answer questions about whether its journalist had been provided any guidance, support or editorial direction in the preparation of her package. A spokesperson told us,
Sky News Australia rejects the characterisation of the online video by Media Watch, but acknowledges that several elements lacked appropriate editorial context.
Because that's all that was missing, just the context. And what was the video's headline again? Yes, Europe has fallen. No, it hasn't, Carla and co. What has fallen, however, what has plummeted through the floor in this piece of drivel is any sense of responsibility and the public interest. And now, not entirely off topic, mind you, to the government's attempts to stop social media giants from polluting the minds of our young people.
The government has announced plans to include YouTube in their under-16 social media ban, joining other major platforms like Facebook, Instagram and Snapchat. From December this year, the video streaming service will be subject to these new minimum age laws.
YouTube was to be exempted from the government's world-first legislation, which aims to ban minors from having social media accounts. But last week, following advice from the E-Safety Commissioner, Anthony Albanese and his government changed tack.
We want Australian parents and families to know that we've got your back.
We have your backs. Parents, we have your backs.
And with the backing of the opposition, most parents and plenty in the media, the radical policy has had little resistance, even as serious questions have emerged about its viability. While the initial results of a government-commissioned trial of age filter technology have been hailed a roaring success, not everyone has been convinced the filter will work. In October last year, more than 100 experts and academics signed an open letter to the Prime Minister expressing concern there was not yet any known effective technique by which to verify a user's age. And even after the preliminary results of the trial were released, those concerns persist. One expert who runs a children's safety technology company resigned from the government's own advisory committee, telling Crikey,
The early test results reported are suggestive of a very problematic future for age assurance technology, with high error rate and bypasses, and yet the findings were very positive.
He wasn't alone. Another advisor to the trial cited similar concerns about poor transparency, while another prominent expert noted a lack of evidence to support the government's confidence in the technology. One of the verification tools being tested is facial age recognition. And late last month, the ABC's Ange Lavoie-Pierre put it to the test herself and found
it's often wrong, and sometimes by a lot.
1 minute I'm getting 15, the next I'm getting 19,
Okay.
so like...
19, 37, 26, and I think it was 23 as well.
The Deputy Project Director of the trial, Andrew Hammond, told the ABC a bit more than facial recognition was needed.
If the solution to implementing the legislation was just facial age estimation, I'd say, yep, probably not good enough. However, it's just one of the tools in the toolkit that could be used.
And yet, any reliance on additional tests, such as requiring a photo ID or credit card, may still prove a little tricky, as the UK is discovering in its attempt to put an age filter on digital pornography. The newly appointed Communications Minister herself admits there might be, well, the odd loophole.
That age group there between 13 and 16 are particularly savvy. How are you going to police that?
Look, these laws aren't infallible, none are.
There may well be other reasons, however, for the Albanese government to want to cling to hope, because we've confirmed high-level discussions which have included the gambling industry, the commercial television broadcasters and the Prime Minister's office about using the same technology to avoid the comprehensive online ban on gambling advertising proposed by a Labor-led parliamentary committee in 2023, which might have created all kinds of political headaches for Labor and maybe even a few for its fundraisers. The head of the gambling lobby told us,
"It makes sense to apply the same technology to ensure gambling ads and other age-restricted content are only seen by adults."
A spokesperson for Anthony Albanese's office declined to comment on private discussions with broadcasters and bookies. The full technical report on the age filter trial is now in the hands of the government, which has promised to release it to the public later this year. And while parents might be worried about how to parent children increasingly reliant on social media, they may yet discover that rather than a panacea, what they're really being sold is a pup, which, by the way, the gambling industry appears to be betting on. And now to the leafy North Shore of Sydney, where a wild soiree took a turn for the worse.
A night of partying ending in violence. A schoolboy stabbed with a kitchen knife inside this Mossman home.
A house party descending into a brawl that landed a teenager in hospital and stunned the neighbourhood.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shock. They go to another school and I think they're in the same year as me.
It's very unfortunate and I hope that boy is okay.
After charges were laid against two suspects, aged 18 and 20 years old, Sydney's trusty crime almanac, the Daily Telegraph, blew the lid off the story.
Two self-appointed bouncers at a teenager's Mossman house party allegedly stomped on one guest and stabbed another in the thigh with a kitchen knife in front of horrified revellers.
Lavishing every brutal detail.
Police allege a 16-year-old boy feared he was going to die as a knife was held to his throat.
The exclusive yarn also ran online via the Telly's homepage and its social media and in the Mossman Daily, another News Corp publication. And front and centre of all the stories was another get, a photograph of one of the young men charged with the stabbing, 20-year-old Hugo Phipson. Just a small problem, however. The person in that photo isn't Hugo Phipson at all. In fact, his name is Angus Bendel. Phipson, as it turns out, is the blurred figure on the left. Many in the neighbourhood immediately recognised Angus from the picture, which he's granted us permission to reuse, in part because Angus Bendel is the son of Roy Bendel, once Deputy Mayor of Mossman, whose former constituents, upon reading the news, vented their displeasure.
"Just heard about your son stabbing someone. That's disgusting. I supported you handing out flyers to help you get elected for representing the community. Don't count on my support again. Get your shit sorted."
In fact, poor old Angus had spent the night in question innocently watching a flick with his girlfriend and had woken the following Monday to find his face splashed about by the telly.
My first reaction was, I was like 100% sure that it was some joke. And then a fear and anxiety. What's going to happen from this? Who's going to see this?
So how did the Daily Telegraph get it so wrong? It declined to say. But after Roy Bendel engaged lawyers, the image began to disappear from the paper's website and social media channels. A few days later, no doubt after the exchange of legal letters, a mea culpa materialised in News Corp's online mastheads nationwide and in the local papers.
Mr. Bendel has no association whatsoever with the allegations described in the article and was not present at the party.
It's not the first time a news organisation, in its rush to be first, has scraped the internet for a photo and misidentified someone accused of a crime. And to err is human, of course. But in the modern era, where every word and photograph ever published seems to reside in everyone's pocket, the damage is lasting.
Even now, I'm still saying to people that it's not true. What hurt the most, what did the most damage, was the Daily Telegraph sharing it on social media. It just had his photo and the headline.
The Telegraph, like every publisher who does so, should be acknowledged for correcting its error and issuing an apology, which will inevitably cost it some pretty coin. but a better lust for accuracy than speed would provide its readers, whose photographs also lie scattered about the internet with surely the higher service. And that's all from us tonight. Be sure to check us out on ABC iView as well as YouTube, Facebook and X. You can find full statements on our website, and don't forget to send us your tips. Good night.